everyone, this is Hailey from Nutri-Foria, and today we're so excited to have Aanchal Vash here to speak to us about mental health and her nonprofit organization. She's an international motivational speaker, human performance success trainer, and social entrepreneur. She moves audiences around the world as she advocates for life after trauma, inclusion, workplace wellness, as well as women and youth empowerment. After the passing of her twin brother to suicide, Aanchal founded Reach Out Together Corporation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising mental health awareness through educational programs for individuals, groups, and workplaces. We're so excited to have her here today to talk about these important topics. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. Thank you for reaching out.
Of course. Yeah, no, it was funny because we had this whole program with Nutri-Foria starting where we wanted to do an interview series and talk to people that have, their specific niche and whatever it is that they're doing in the health space. And so when we met at the Holistic Beauty event a couple months ago, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get your card because it would be perfect. So yeah, I'm so glad that you're here today to talk about, a really important issue, which is mental health, and everything that comes with your organization. I guess we'll just start by maybe just asking about your organization. Tell us a little bit about yourself and just, I guess, how you got started.
Absolutely. My organization is called Reach Out Together. It is a Canadian federal-run non-for-profit organization, and we are dedicated to helping people maintain positive mental health. We do that through hosting different programs digitally. So people, not just in Canada, but also globally, are able to sign up for our programs online, connect with us and get empowered and learn about what is mental health, what is mental illness, what are the disorders that are prevailing out there. So they gain some clarity. They learn about tools and resources that are available, so they are more empowered to go and seek the right help for themselves. And they know that they're not alone in this struggle. I founded this organization 3 years ago through test and trial within my community. And I was invited to go and speak at Calgary, where the mayor of Calgary actually gave Reach Out Together a shout out for the work we were doing. And that's when it kind of got validated, our whole concept, our idea of us wanting to create change within the mental health space. That's when we actually went out there, we registered this legally, and we're just taking it one step at a time. So far, we are in about 4 different countries, and we're looking forward to really the impact that we are looking forward to making.
That's so awesome. So I think that talking to some of our students, there are going to be some viewers who might be a little more interested in how it is that you, when you were considering starting a nonprofit, sort of how setting something like that up kind of starts. If you don't mind elaborating a little bit more on that, about just the concept and how you kind of get started in that area.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. I know I look fairly young, but I've had a very diverse set of experience in doing different things within different industries, whether it was digital publication to media, to even freelancing to be a digital branding strategist and a communications consultant, to me working in affiliate marketing within digital advertising, hosting a lot of events. I was in my university, I was a part of an organization, Greek organization called Alpha Kappa Delta Phi. It is a sorority, a Canadian-run organization, but it is registered with the government of Canada's Pan-Hellenic Association, and we fundraised for Avon Breast Cancer Crusade. So from a very young age, I was very interested in community development, in giving back, made a lot of mistakes hosting event in university for the students. But ultimately, it taught me how to host events, taught me how to host programs, how to cover the cost of events. So when I actually got this organization going in the beginning, I needed support from everywhere I could possibly find. And, entrepreneurship was very new for me. because growing up, I always heard that, Aanchal, you need experience before you actually go and start your own thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm at a place now where I disagree with that. I believe that, through experience, we learn what works, what doesn't work.
Yes.
And it's just about us reaching out for that knowledge that we're lacking, because we're not born knowing it all. So 3 years ago, I reached out to different mentors that I went out and sought, how to start an organization legally. What are the right steps? What are the things I need to take care of before I even go out and start branding, reach out together, just to cover the base. So the base was solid. And yeah, it's been amazing. What I recommend is going online and registering online. The first step is getting a nuances report, which basically means that you're in a way checking that the business name you want to register under is not taken by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And good for you to do that, so you can make sure that other people are not in a position to sue you down the line when your business really stops, right? That's the first step. And the next step is really go on the Government of Canada's website and follow the whole process. It's very simple. It's really easily laid out, broken down in steps. Follow it and register online. And that's what I did.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, I guess like you said, having that experience prior to have that practice to know that you have those skills to be able to do that, and then taking the necessary steps. That's great that all that information is online. And, I should really ask this first and foremost before we continue, just for the listeners who might not know or aren't as familiar with the definition. I would just like to ask you, what is mental health? How would you define that?
Sure. Mental health is a state of psychological well-being. It's how you and I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to break it down, imagine this is a linear line, right? A straight line. Imagine this is the center point of this line. Now, anything above this is positive mental health. When you feel happy, you feel joy, you're excited, you wake up, you're motivated. All of these are bringing to the positive scale. A lot of times when we're not feeling good, when we miss our flight or something bad happens, we feel sad. When someone, passes away, when we're going through a really rough time, adversity in life, we tend to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Quite often because we're not taking care of our mental health. We're not doing the right things that our soul needs in order to move forward. Moving forward would be going towards a positive side, right? Now, mental illness is something that can happen to anybody. Ultimately, it's just an illness, just like we have physical illness.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine breaking your hand. But in this case, you have a mental illness that's not visible, right? And mental illness, it does not discriminate. It affects anybody, regardless of your age, your gender, your location, the cultural background, your ethnicity, how much money you have, your sexual orientation, regardless of any of that. Mental illness affects an individual.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I feel like it's just not spoken about outwardly. So how common do you think mental health problems are, being as though a lot of people don't outwardly speak about it?
I personally think mental health issues are something most of us go through in our daily lifestyle. But mental health illnesses is not something every single person goes through. But according to statistics, 1 out of 5 people have a mental health illness and they don't seek help for it. In my personal experience, from what I have witnessed and the people that I have talked to, I believe that number is higher. I think it's probably 2 or 3 out of 5 people, because from what we know is men don't tend to come out and open up more often.
Right.
Stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, women are, women as well, they did tend to, the stigma does prevent them from speaking up and reaching out, but women do share more. They do communicate more. So in my personal experience, from what I've witnessed, I think that number is probably 3 out of 5 people that are suffering but are not reaching out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And like Imagine walking down the street and imagine seeing 5 people on the street, which is really not a big deal. But imagine out of those 5 people that you're seeing, 3 of them are not really well. When I say well, I mean an illness that requires treatment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do feel like it's just something that's not spoken on as much as it should be for, I mean, of course, a number of different reasons. But I mean, do you feel like it varies in severity as well? Is that why people maybe are afraid to speak out about it because they don't know if, I feel like as human beings, we tend to compare a little bit to others. Well, my problems aren't as bad as theirs, and I shouldn't feel this way because my life is seemingly okay, but that doesn't mean that you don't have those negative thoughts or feelings in your life. So what do you think are some of the most common mental health disorders? Like, of course there's anxiety, depression, but is there any other things that we can kind of touch on that,
So at least in Canada, there are top 5 prevailing disorders, and that is basically mood-related disorders. Mood-related disorders consist of 2 main types: depressive disorder and bipolar disorder. Then the second type of main disorder is anxiety-related disorder. Then there's anxiety-related substance use disorder.
Okay.
Where you develop a disorder from substance abuse or use.
Right.
There's psychotic disorders, and there's trauma-related disorders.
Okay, so there's quite a few.
5 main disorders, and underneath those come others, but a lot of times we tend to feel so overwhelmed because we don't understand what something is. For example, we use the words depression and anxiety together quite often. I suffer from anxiety, I suffer from depression, but they're 2 different kinds of disorders. Depressive disorder comes under mood-related disorder, whereas anxiety disorder comes under anxiety-related disorders because there are other types underneath them.
Right.
But it's the way we feel. So a mood-related disorder is something that affects our mood to a point where we're not able to just function normally. The duration is very long, and the person has severe symptoms of an illness. Grief is something we all feel. Grief is ultimately just loss, right? It could be from not being single anymore. That's grief because now you're not single anymore. It could be you are a parent now and you have a child to take care of, and you're just grieving over the fact that you're single, or your alone life is over. It could be from loss, from actual death in the family or friends. Could be breakup. That's all grief that's being caused. And because as a result of that grief, a lot of times people tend to have a mood-related disorder if it is for too long they're experiencing what they're experiencing.
Okay.
I say 6 months. When you're experiencing something that is over 6 months long, sweetie, I think you should reach out to professional help.
Yes.
Perhaps the first step is just going into a walk-in clinic to your family doctor, tell them how you're feeling, and be adamant and tell them you're looking to speak to a mental health professional before you immediately take antidepressants. My twin brother passed away to suicide 3 years ago on July 12th. And that is probably one of the hardest things I have ever gone through in my life. I never understood anxiety the way I have now. And that has made me understand my twin brother a lot more. Right. So I reached out for help because I started to feel emotions that did not feel normal to me. And I was aware that this is not normal, Aanchal. This is not normal. I'm just not able to function normally. Life should not be this hard. I would wake up in the morning and I couldn't believe how much effort it took me to get out of my bed, get ready, and get out of my house to get my day started.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to just be around people. I couldn't feel joy in life from anything. I started isolating myself, right? And this is very normal, to happen for someone that's gone through suicide loss because there's no answer to it. There's no closure from this. You know, the brain constantly was like, why? What did I do? Why didn't I do this? And I reached out for professional help immediately, you know, within 6 months. And don't get me wrong, I didn't do it myself because I didn't even know where to get started. But I knew that I needed help. So I reached out to a friend of mine and I asked her, I think I need to go see a therapist. Are you able to help me find one? And that was so hard for me to do.
Yeah.
Because of all the stigma that's associated to my culture, where I come from. What will my parents think? What will my aunts and my friends think abroad, right? Because I am Aanchal and I have got it all together. I am a strong person. I am a go-getter. I am a helper. I help people, right? But now it was about me needing that help and support. And I didn't get that from my immediate friend circle. And the reason for that is because they're not knowledgeable about mental health disorders. Yeah. They're not knowledgeable about the illness. They don't even know how to support someone that's suffering.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So I reached out for professional support because they're there. And I swapped 4 therapists until I found the right person that I gel with. Like when we meet now, it doesn't look like a therapy session because we click, right? And every single time I leave that session, I leave feeling rejuvenated, like I'm reset. All that trauma that I feel, you know, it's still there, but I have the right tools and the right mindset to move forward in life, regardless of what's happening around me.
Right. Exactly. Well, I feel like it takes a lot of strength to, it is a sign of strength that you're admitting to help, that you need help. And like you said, you know, that your circle may not either know how to help you or just be able to in any way. And so with the therapist, I'm laughing thinking, because I've heard this so many times, because it does take a while perhaps to find the right kind of help for you. And that being said, it shouldn't be, discouraging, let's say, to continue to find the right fit, because it is a right fit. So what are your, now just going off of that, what are your tips for self-care then, for checking in with yourself? Because I find like everything is so busy nowadays. We're all just trying to be the next thing, get the next job move, have the best this, and it's really distracting sometimes that you don't slow down and just think like, hey, am I okay? Or am I just powering through my days? So what would you say are some nice kind of self-care tips?
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate it, because I believe self-care determines your quality of life, how you wake up in the morning, how you sleep at night, and your motivation level. It stems from you taking care of yourself and fueling yourself with the right energy, right?
Yes.
So what I personally do, and I'm actually writing a book on this too, is what I do for self-care. The first thing I do is meditate in the morning. And I have to tell you that this is very new to me, meditation. I started meditating last year in February. And I have to share this experience with you, because it's something that I hope that the younger generation resonates with a bit. Coming from the background that I come from, it's always been go, 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 go. Achieve, outdo your own self, Aanchal, because you are capable of more. Just keep going. Now coming and having that attitude, my mindset has always been, what's next? What's next? I achieve something and I'm just like, next. So in February last year, when I sat down to meditate, I couldn't concentrate the first 3 days. The first 3 days, I was forced in a room full of 50 people to meditate with them. So I would open my eyes, looking around, and I'm finding it funny, but there's nothing funny about it. But I was finding it funny for some reason. Now, after the 3rd day, the 4th day comes. Again, Jack Hanfield, the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series, he's leading the session. And I look at him and I tell myself, Aanchal, the only one thing you're going to do today is not open your eyes. If you're going to get distracted. That's okay. It happens. But just try to bring your mindset back to what the guided meditation is. And I did that. I closed my eyes, and for 20 minutes, I didn't open my eyes. I have to tell you what happened when I opened my eyes after 20 minutes. I opened my eyes with tears rolling down my cheeks. And I wasn't crying. Like, I wasn't crying. I wasn't sobbing or anything. But it was almost like my soul was telling me it needs rest.
Yeah.
It needed to just take everything in. It needed to feel. It didn't want to be distracted by television, Netflix, friends, going out. It just wanted to feel what it's feeling. So the next day, I did the same thing again. I didn't open my eyes. And the same thing happened again. I woke up, I opened my eyes with tears down my cheeks.
For 20 minutes at a time?
Yes.
Wow.
And the next day, the same thing happened again. But then after a month of consistency, I started to notice within me, I was creating a light. And it's something I can't explain in words. I just started to find peace within, more mindful towards myself and what I am capable of doing for myself. You know, I had a realization that the body is a host. I am lucky and I am grateful to be born in this body. This body could be anybody. It could be you. My soul could have been born in you. It could have been born in an ant, a mosquito, in anything. But it was born in me, in this body. And I am so grateful for it. Now it's about me doing whatever needs to be done for my soul. So my soul is relaxed and peaceful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely do. Cause it's hard to be still sometimes, I find. And so when you're talking about the meditation, I'm going like, oh, I get this, because it is hard, and you have to have a little bit of patience to just be able to be still with yourself. But I'm told, because I'm not quite there yet, I give it a go, and I'm not quite there yet where I can actually be still like that. But from so many people, even I think it was Jada Pinkett Smith that I was watching a video of her talking about it, and over time it's something that it's like a muscle that you have to work, and then you can get it. You just have to have the patience to kind of sit still with it. But when I was watching your presentation a couple months ago, I guess it was, at the event, you had touched on something. It was because work is just so, we spend so many hours in our day there. You were talking about workplace happiness and sort of how that affects your mental health, because like I said, it's something that we do every single day. It really defines a lot of who we are. So can you elaborate on that a little bit, the kind of the workplace happiness and kind of the benefits of the elevated mental health in the workplace as well?
Absolutely. So a psychologically healthy workplace, right, is a respectful and a productive environment where the employer makes every reasonable effort to promote and protect the mental health of its employees. This is the definition of a psychologically healthy workplace. And this is defined by the socioeconomic website, the Government of Canada's website. Mm-hmm. We have tons of information as to how employers can help improve the mental health of the workplace. So I highly recommend people to check that out as an additional resource. But the reason why it is important for us to actually talk and promote mental health in the workplace as of today is because there's growing concern of illnesses that are arising in the workplace. Something we just talked about earlier was that go attitude, thinking that you have it all, you got it, I want to achieve more. And a lot of times employers want people like that because you're assets to them. They give more and more and more work to you. Mm-hmm. Everything you have, you feel depleted of it. But it's up to you in that moment when you acknowledge that's happening to take a step back, to say no. It's not on the employer. It's on the employee in that moment to say no. to be empowered enough to know that by you saying no, it doesn't mean that you don't have what it takes, right? So as of today, 30% of disability claims are related to mental health problems and illnesses. 30% of disability claims.
Oh, wow.
$50 billion per year is the total cost of mental health problems and illnesses in Canada. $50 billion, mental health illnesses, which is a lot. Now, when an employer promotes positive mental health in the workplace, there are a lot of benefits to it for them, for their employees, you know, and a couple of them would be improving engagement, right? Engagement, communication with their employees, morale. When people feel better, they feel appreciated, they do more, they contribute more, they do more than that's required of them. There's higher satisfaction, job satisfaction, which results in higher retention, right? You don't have to spend more on recruitment. And it increases productivity within employees. What it also does is it reduces absenteeism. So there is an economic benefit to the company too, right? The cost. Right. Because when employees are not feeling good, they take time off work. That affects the business. Same goes with grievances, right? If you're able to give your employees that space when they're grieving over something, right? Acknowledge that and have a structure in place, a process in place for what to do with an employee when they're not feeling good. How could you support them?
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, this employee is grieving and I'm good, like they're going to take, what can you do to really help them? Because when they feel appreciated and watched out for, they will watch out for you.
Right.
You know, reduces health costs, reduces disability claims, any medical leave that an employee may want to take, and workplace injuries, depending on where you work. A lot of times when people are not really there mentally, you know, their chances are that they get physically injured as well. And that's an additional cost for the company.
Mm-hmm. Definitely creates that comfortable, open environment for everybody to benefit from. But those people who, you know, aren't as comfortable to be open about what they're feeling, let's say, what are some of those, I suppose, warning signs or just things that might be missed or overlooked? If there's somebody watching who knows somebody who might be suffering, let's say, what are some kind of signs for those people that aren't so vocal?
There are a few signs. So you can see excessive inappropriate worry, for example. When you see someone excessively worrying about something, that's a sign. Fear that someone is going mad, a fear of going crazy, right? Environment, like when someone feels like things around them are unreal, distorted perception. Things are either too fast or things are just too slow. When something is happening too fast that they cannot keep up. Right? Easily distracted, easily irritable, not getting any sleep, coming to work, not looking that they've slept or taking care of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, decreased attention, concentration. This is just some psychological side effects, symptoms that you can witness. There are other physical symptoms too. Like sometimes people will have respiratory issues like hyperventilation or shortness of breath at work. When you witness that, perhaps you're having an anxiety attack or something, or you're very anxious. You know, some people get a lot of chest pains at work. Rapid heart rate is just constantly flushing. You can tell at that point that the person is not doing well. You know, it's okay to go and ask them, are you okay? Is there something that we can do? Should I call 911 for you?
Yeah.
Right? What can we do to support you right now?
Right, exactly. I think it's important to note to take those things, you know, seriously. Yeah. And those people who are struggling, what would you recommend for recovery? I know that we talked about, therapist, counseling, that sort of thing, but is there anything else that you would recommend to somebody?
People that are suffering?
Yeah, somebody who would be struggling with their mental health, or someone who perhaps knows somebody who is. What would you sort of recommend for like a recovery, something to kind of point them in the right direction for their mental health?
There are so many strategies and tools I would like to share, but the one thing that I would like to leave you with is, do not stop believing that recovery is possible for you. Mindset is everything, everything. In our brain, we have something called a reticular activating system. You may heard of it as something called RAS, reticular activating system.
Okay.
So what happens is, like, a RAS is something all of us have. Each one of us has it. And what it does is, because our brain is receiving a million messages at every given point of time, the RAS filters out messages that do not serve us. Because if we start to absorb every information that our brain's receiving, we would literally be twitching. Because there are so many messages that our body is receiving right now. For example, right now there's a laptop where we're doing this interview. There's so many different aspects, right now, what I'm saying, what you may be listening, what is the time, my notes, the video, the audio. Like, there's just so many aspects to this that right now, my brain is only focusing on this interview and what I'm saying and to your questions, right? And it's only doing that because I've prepared myself for this interview, right? And that's why it is so important for all of us to not go to bed after we watch horror movies.
Yeah, guilty of that.
Watch negative things, because your brain will bring to light what you're putting into it. We call it law of attraction, but in science, it's called reticular activating system. What you put into your brain is what you get out of it, because your brain will do everything in its power to bring that into reality. Because your brain doesn't know what is real and what are thoughts, right?
Right.
But become your reality. So you have to feed your brain with the right thoughts. For me, I repeat this to myself for a whole 2 years. I am the possibility of integrity, self-respect, and transformation. I am the possibility of integrity, self-respect, and transformation. Because I was at a place, after the passing of my twin brother, where I needed to heal. I wanted to heal. I didn't need to, I wanted to, for the sake of myself, for the sake of my parents and my friends, people around me. Right? Because I was not a joy to be around, and I'm fully aware of that too. I wanted to improve that. So I kept telling myself, I am the possibility of integrity, self-respect, and transformation every night, every morning.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. And it's so awesome just to kind of hear your story and then see, I mean, you're a walking example of the change that can be made through tragedy, through knowing that you're not doing so well, checking in with yourself, doing the work to get better. And now, here you are in this awesome organization that is helping others through what you went through. It's fantastic. And so I guess just before we kind of close off here, I want to know more about your upcoming projects. So I know that you had said that you were going to be co-authoring a book with Jack Canfield, which is amazing, and some awards and this kinds of things. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that.
Thank you for that. I'm really excited. I just signed a publishing deal with a company called DNA in Los Angeles. It's my first time ever publishing a book, and it's just such an honor to do it with my mentor, Jack Canfield. Growing up, I used to have an older brother who passed away to malaria, unfortunately. And my older brother used to read all his books growing up. Every single Chicken Soup for the Soul was in our library. And I didn't read them, but he read each one of them. So when I was, when I grew up and I came across this program, I was like, you know what, I'm going to sign up for it. I'm going to see if I get accepted into his academy. And I did last year. And now I'm a certified Canfield trainer in the success principles. So that's my next project. In 3 months, by January of 2020, I'm going to be launching a mindset coaching firm after being certified with all the tools to actually help people maintain the right mindset, to keep going no matter what life throws at you, because it's possible. Anything is possible. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be writing a lot about the strategies that I use myself to keep going and maintain a good mindset, every single day in this book. I'm really excited. The book will be launching next year, early next year. And I'm also winning an award as a thought leader at the Thought Leadership Summit that happens once a year in Hollywood, California, this September. I'm really excited. It's just recognition for the hard work, the perseverance that goes into really learning how to be an entrepreneur. So I'm just grateful for the recognition. I'm excited. It's motivating me to keep going.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations. That's so exciting. It's funny how in life things just kind of come full circle. You know what I mean? Like having those books growing up and then having the academy and everything that happens. I don't feel like anything in life is that coincidental, It's all a part of the process. So thank you so much for just sharing your message and giving us information that's really important to talk about. And I know our listeners are just going to absolutely love having you here. So thank you so much. And where can our students find you? If you can just say, I'm going to write underneath the video, your website, anything that they can link to find out more about you. But where else could they find you?
You can find me on any social media platform. My handle is at Aanchal, Aanchal Vash, Vash. So at Aanchal Vash. My non-for-profit account is at ROT Ambassador, which is Reach Out Together Ambassador. You can also send me a quick email at aanchal@reachouttogether.com.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Great. Well, as I said, I'm going to list everything there for you. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. And it's just so nice chatting to you again. So
thank you. Likewise. I really appreciate you reaching out and presenting with this opportunity. It's an absolute pleasure to empower people that are looking to actually help other people. So thank you, all of you who are watching, to help other people make a difference.
Thank you so much. Well, I suppose we shall chat soon. And thank you again. Have a wonderful day, okay?
All right, you as well.
Take care. Thanks.